Welcome back, everybody. It is a new year, a new season. It is a podcast divided, and we are very, very, very glad to have you here with us for another season, another year. So, this the person next to me is not Connor Muldowney, who I've had with me the last 2 years. He is someone very, very different, and his name is Jack Williams. And I want to welcome Jack Williams to the show.
Thank you, Don, and I am very happy to be here.
Well, man, happy to have you here. Happy to have you here, and this is season 3 for us, and we're just very, very excited. It's how many days? I mean, it's 16 days for MSU, and it's 17 for Michigan. So we're almost there. I mean, this is something. How are you feeling?
I'm excited. I love football season. There's no other sport that meets football for me. So I'm excited.
Oh man, I'm thrilled as well. It's gonna be another great year. It really feels good as a Michigan fan. It feels very, very good to not have to deal with, when will you beat Ohio State? It feels really, really good. It's a wonderful thing to have, and we're just extremely it's wonderful. And I'm just really excited, to see what's next. And without any further ado, I think it was time for us to start talking about that very, 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 very sensitive subject. That subject with Michigan fans. Actually, before I get into how does it feel to know who your QB1 is, and there'd be no doubts who it is, and you're not worried about it. Your fans aren't fighting on Twitter about it. How does that feel? Because I don't know what that's like.
It feels good. I don't know. I like Peyton Thorne. I'm excited to see him improve. You know what you're getting. It's a little boring, to be honest, because at least if you have a quarterback battle, you have something to keep an eye on. I mean, nothing against Peyton Thorne, but a little bit of a boring offseason when you know who the quarterback is.
Oh, man. Shoot. I've got an idea who Michigan's quarterback is, but of course you never know what's going to happen in that. And the returning quarterback is Cade McNamara. 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, led Michigan to a 12-2 record, beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten, going to the college football playoff. Those are all wonderful things. But there is a giant elephant in the room, and it's not me. I know I'm fat, but it's not me. It's a young man by the name of James McCarthy Jr., as he's called, J.J. McCarthy, a 5-star quarterback out of the Chicagoland area, played for the Nazareth Academy up until his junior season in high school, then went to IMG Academy, Florida Player of the Year, was a 5-star recruit according to the composite on 247, and a 4-star recruit everywhere else, but still, consensus top 25, top 30 player in the country. Michigan's been excited to have him, and the assumption for years was, he was going to come and start as a freshman. That didn't happen, but now it's a sophomore year, and everyone's kind of looking at their watch and like, it's when's the time for JJ McCarthy, and So what I'm actually going to do, of course, I love Cade. I think he does. I think he's a really good kid. I've gotten to know him the last couple of years. He's a really good kid, a leader, loves Michigan, dedicated. Of course, if he wanted to, he could have gone out on top and transferred to another school, and then JJ would just come in and be the guy. But he loves Michigan, and I think that's just commendable. At the same time, there is a battle out there. And there is another option. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you all 3 reasons why J.J. McCarthy should be the starting quarterback in 2002 for Michigan. 2002 because he was a baby. I think he was born in 2002, and I was in 8th grade. But in the 2022 starting quarterback for Michigan, 3 reasons why I should be J.J. McCarthy. And my first reason is elite arm strength. And lead arm strength, I can show you better than I can tell you with that whole lead arm strength thing because it's pretty elite
this year. McCarthy drops it in. McCarthy touchdown, Michigan. Dalen Baldwin.
Want to know how you get a 5th star by your name in recruiting? Make throws like this. J.J. McCarthy, this is absolutely perfect. Baldwin didn't break stride at all. The ball is perfectly thrown.
You can't coach arm strength. You cannot coach being able to drop back and just throw a cannon of an arm. Of course, you can of course, teach biomechanics to get the most out of what you already have. But that's God-given. The ability to make a throw like that throw he made in the final minutes of the Wisconsin game this past year. So, I mean, that was just like, okay. Hello, J.J. McCarthy. How are you?
Yep. Yeah, he made that. Like, he didn't even put anything into that. He just, like, no mechanics really. I mean, obviously he's got a great throw, but he's just whipping that thing downfield and it goes right where he wants it to.
Yeah. I mean, you can't coach that. And when you have that type of arm strength, even if there are throws you need to work on and, working on touch and working on, making the short and intermediate throws and such and putting more touch on those balls. Still, you cannot coach the ability to just hoof the ball just like that. So, that's just one thing and it's a great thing to have. When you're of course, even if your mechanics aren't always there, being able to just go, boom, that's it. That's a great advantage, and that's something to consider. And I know something the coaches are considering is that elite arm strength. Of course, Cade has a good arm, but at the same time, JJ's arm is it's on another level. And I heard a prominent biomechanical coach actually said he is one of the top 3 arms he's ever seen, and he's coached professionals. So that's saying a lot about J.J. McCarthy and his arm strength. And
there's only a few guys that can do that.
I know. And my second reason is above average speed at the quarterback position. That's something else you can't coach, is having that kind of speed to be able to evade rushers, number one, because sometimes, your offensive line isn't going to be perfect. So, as a quarterback, you have to have that ability to extend plays, possibly get a first down and such. And I mean, it's a wonderful gift to have that. And here is that above average speed, the quarterback position by JJ.
Yet to beat the Buckeyes. Now McCarthy, look at him running. Look at the smooth juke, and he gets down inside the 35. And that was the question. When would they give him an opportunity to get in there and get some burn?
Yeah. I mean, that's special when you have a kid who can just get out on the perimeter, out on the outside, and make that kind of play. That's special. And
he's got some good vision too. He looked like Kenneth Walker cutting back there.
I don't ever want to hear his name ever again as long as I live on this show. He's Kenneth Walker III has done enough, psychological damage on me as emotional damage. Yeah, I mean it's that's something special to be able to step up and to do that. And and having someone that can escape, having someone that can run like that, that's a position, that's a certainly a place that you want to have that as the quarterback position. And that's another reason why JJ is in high consideration to take the job, is above average speed, the quarterback position. And my third reasoning is ability to improvise. And ability to improvise can also is a gift and a curse, and I'll get to that later. But the thing is, every single play that your coach draws up is not going to go according to plan. It's not going to be, it's not going to be play action, take 3 steps back. Your receiver's going to be running a post route. He's going to be wide open. Your protection's going to be perfect. You're going to make a perfect throw. The receiver's going to run the right route. The receiver's going to So it's so important to be able to, to make adjustments and to be able to on the fly be able to, okay, this isn't working out. So what can I do to, move it forward, if you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, he's a little bit Johnny Manziel in what he does. He likes to he doesn't panic. That's what it is. There's a lot of guys. I mean, there's a play of Brian Lewerke at MSU. Nothing against Brian Lewerke. Love Brian Lewerke, but where it was the Red Box Bowl, and he starts to panic and just tosses one up, and it gets intercepted. And there's nothing against him. It's just some guys have that ability to figure it out when they're under a lot of pressure. And JJ is definitely one of those guys. That's what makes them a 5-star.
Oh yeah. You got to be able to figure it out. And here's that play where he figures this thing out.
Down in 3. McCarthy, remember he can run. McCarthy bouncing around back there. Reverses, turns a corner, looks across his body, caught and a first down. Wow.
Coverage was perfect. Nowhere to go with the football. He's able to escape the rush. Didn't have to burn it outside. And then he finds a completion.
Yeah, that is improvised. Of course, later, we'll get to, improvising being also a gift and a curse, because also on that particular play there, he had a wide open tight end underneath where he didn't have to do all that. But still, the fact that he can, make something where he doesn't perceive anything, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, and that's what makes him special, and that's why he's in the running and in position to possibly, be the starting quarterback in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with that, I want, why isn't Harbaugh named the starting quarterback? Why isn't he this? Why is it even a doubt based on all those things I showed you? Well, actually, there's one more reason. Actually, I got a bonus reason why he's in consideration. And it's just my terminology. The RPO torture chamber is what it is. And what that means is you have really good backs in Edwards and Blake Corum who run off tackle, run up the middle. You also on the read option, you have it to where JJ can keep it and run and pick up a large chunk. And if you try to stop the run on both ends, you have multiple guys keying on the running back, you have multiple guys keying on JJ. Then JJ can just fake the run, step back, and throw that thing. And this is actually him doing that right here. And I wish the outcome of this game was different, but this is a very nice play.
McCarthy sprints out of the pocket, throws, caught! Andrell Anthony again, whatever, got it!
You know what I just had flashes of? Gus, as McCarthy rolls out, he's just going to give his wide receiver a chance. Why? He trusts him, the athleticism, and number one goes up in the end zone like that. It looks like Braylon Edwards almost. That's a flashback.
It's a great catch, too.
Yeah, and he put it right. He literally put it in the only place that he could get it, and that is whenever you're able to present that many issues in that short amount of space in that sort of area, that's going to give a lot of teams trouble, and that's why JJ being the starting quarterback is going to be a very, very dangerous, explosive offense if that happens. And that's really the big reason, is because there's so many dimensions he can hurt you. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where you're going to get hit from. If he's going to hurt you or if he's going to put the ball in the hands of somebody that's going to hurt you. So that's a big reason why. There's a lot
and that's why I think it's JJ starting really comes down to, I don't think he's going to start day one, but I think it comes down to whether Michigan's defense is good enough, because Cade is obviously, with a good defense, good enough to get them to the college football playoff. But if you really need like high risk, high reward, if you need that high reward, you're going to go probably with JJ, because there's so much he can do.
Yeah,
potentially.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why. And of course, and here are a couple of reservations to why the coaches may be hesitant to start him. And I want to, show you all that, what are a few reservations to why he may not be starting. The first one is turnover issues. He did, there were a couple of turnovers that he committed whenever. There's one in particular, the big one against Michigan State, where between the redosh between him and Corum, that was a very, very key part of the game. At midfield, and it just, of course, it's never anyone's fault the team loses a game and all that, but that was a really, really key moment right there where just make sure the ball stays in your hands, or make absolute doggone sure that ball is tucked into Blake's chest, and that was not done there, and that play essentially precipitated the loss for Michigan that day, despite Kenneth Walker's great game. And of course, it wasn't the only reason Michigan lost, and there are many things you can talk about there. But also, even now with decision making in practice, just according to Intel, JJ's up until Monday. I'm not sure what happened today, but up until Monday was the first day out of the entire camp where JJ didn't throw a pick or two. And of course, on the other side of that, Cade has only thrown 2 picks all camp. And really, what made Michigan so effective last year offensively is they very seldom turn the ball over. And you had a quarterback in Cade that kept the team ahead of the chains, kept the offense on schedule. Of course, y'all are, why is he checking now? Because 3rd and 2 is better than 3rd and 9. In enemy and negative territory. And being able to have, and it really opens up the playbook more whenever you're in those situations, and that's what made Michigan so effective last year. And the thing about it is, you may get more explosiveness with JJ, but if the turnovers aren't quelled, then you may make $1 million, but you're going to be spending $1.2 million, so you're $200K in the hole, and that's what you want to avoid if you're Michigan.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. That comes back to, if Michigan's defense takes a couple steps back, which it might, then that's where they might want to throw in JJ, because if obviously Cade was doing enough last year with that strong defense. If the defense takes a couple steps back and Cade's not necessarily playing poorly, but just not making the offense explosive, they might want to throw JJ in and try to get.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility as well. And the number one thing with Cade, of course, I'm not talking about JJ really, but number one thing with him is, you don't have to check every single throw down. You can take chances over here every now and then. But at the same time, I would rather work with someone that's taking too few chances than have to pull back someone that's taking too little chances, because a check down on a punt is better than completion or turnover. So I would rather work from that vantage point. We'll see. Number 2 is inexperience. Of course, I'm not saying that he hasn't had any experience, because it was really key getting him out there in those really key situations to come in to give the defense a different look. He got experience. That was wonderful. But at the same time, we don't know, with the full weight of the offense on the shoulder, we don't know what JJ is going to do. We know what Cade brings us, but we don't know what JJ is going to bring us with that. And of course, that's just the realm of the unknown. Is he getting experience? And the more he plays, the more experience that he has. But in order to gain that experience, he's got to beat out Cade, which is easier said than done.
Well, and experience is also experience with the team. Like, they're either, I don't know what's going on in practice, but they're either splitting first team reps or Cade is getting more of them, because Cade definitely did last season. So chemistry with the team is a big part of experience too. And he doesn't have that. And that's what you saw in that fumble against MSU, is just a lack of communication there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a great point. And the more he practices, and unfortunately he missed most of the spring there as well. So yeah. And then the last one is, what is adherence to the scheme and over improvising. What you don't want to do, like he did in that play, it was really good to see how he could improvise, but you don't want to over improvise, because when you over improvise against a disciplined defense, especially on the road like in Iowa, that's when you get hurt, because when you have those ball hawking defenses where they live off turnovers like in Iowa, like the Iowa and such, that's when you get your team into trouble. So the number one, so JJ's next frontier, and from what I heard, he's continuing to improve. The next thing is just making sure that you take that you stay within the offense when the offense is there. And when the offense is, and only resort to your natural instincts when the offense is not there, instead of panicking, and not saying that he panics, instead of panicking and going outside of that, because that's when you get in trouble. Maybe it'll pay off sometimes. Sometimes you hit it big, sometimes you fall flat on your face. So, but the number one thing for JJ is continuing to build on it and adhering to the scheme of the offense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, and that's that's the trade-off, right? Cade's the guy that has that experience, and JJ doesn't. And so that's why I don't think they're going to start JJ right away.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be later in the season if he goes in there.
All right, well, you got ahead of me, man. Who should start? You go first.
If I'm a coach, and I'm not a coach, and I don't know I would fail miserably as a coach. But if I'm a coach, I am starting Cade at least at the beginning of the year, because, like I said, Michigan just had their best season in 20 years. Cade can get you there. And like I've been saying the whole show, like if the defense is not there, and if the team is not as put together as it looked, and you're still trying to win games now, that's when you throw JJ in. And I don't think whatever happens, I don't think they should make any single player, and I don't think Harbaugh will make any single player the definitive starter, but you have to be willing to throw both in there at any given moment.
Yeah, good answer. I think both guys are starting lineup worthy players. I think JJ could start at 75% of teams in the country. He could be their starter. He's electric, and I think JJ has the potential, the talent to be a first-round pick one day. First-round pick and be a Heisman finalist. He has that type of physical talent. But the number one thing is going to be just the mental aspect of the game, and I'm continuing to pick that up and continuing to grow there. With that being said, you don't ever sacrifice a winning hand unless you know that 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 another hand is going to be as good or better. You don't sacrifice that. And that's why I believe that starting out, Cade should be that guy, because, like I said, Cade is showing you that what he can do. And I believe, just from what I'm hearing, from behind the scenes stuff, is he's continuing to grow his game. He's continuing to develop. And you want to make sure you stay with this cool, steady hand. If this is a different team, let's just say Michigan has an inexperienced offensive line that may not be very good in pass protection, or you have running backs who may not be as explosive and as Blake Coleman or Donovan Edwards. If you have a combination of those two things, JJ's skill set, his athleticism, his improvisational ability, and his foot speed is going to be much more of a premium in that case. If that's what the team, and if that was our team, if that was the outlook of our team, I would lean toward possibly throwing number 9 out there, JJ, to be the starting quarterback. But since this is a team with, arguably the best offensive line in the country, you've got 2 explosive running backs, you've got a couple of young freshmen running backs that are kind of working their way up as well, and you also have guys like an AJ Henning and Roman Wilson that can also carry the ball in misdirection to a point where you don't have to expose Cade too much. You just need someone that can just basically be a distributor, to get the ball in people's hands and let playmakers do their playmaking and such. And I think Cade right now is the most equipped to do that. And I believe that's why he's going to maintain a starting job, barring anything non-football performance related. He's going to maintain a starting job, and it's going to be rightfully earned, because he's done nothing but continue to grow as a player and as a leader. But the best part about this whole thing is having Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy at the same time in your quarterback room is a doggone freaking luxury. That's what I will say.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you've got that offensive line there. The quarterback, I don't think either way you're getting a great quarterback out of this. I mean, you're probably going to have a really good run game too, just with that offensive line. Like, yeah, you can't go wrong here, but it's definitely very situational.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, let Cade ride it out. And if it gets to a point where for some reason things aren't clicking the way they need to, and you need to shake it up, you got JJ. It's simple. The number one thing is just, don't sacrifice your winning hand. Don't sacrifice your winning hand. All right. We got Michigan State people on here. So let's get to Michigan State stuff. Okay. I want to get into the position battle between Michigan and Michigan State because it's going to be a big one. It's going to be great. You guys have some good players returning. You got Peyton Thorne returning, Jacob Slade. You've got Xavier Henderson on the back end. You've got leadership. You've got is it Brule? Aaron Brule, the transfer from Mississippi State, who's a very high. He was a high grading linebacker in the SEC that's transferring to Michigan State. So it's going to be big. And then you've got Jalen Berger, who's a really solid running back. I forgot the young man's name from Colorado. You've got some really good players that are filling in. So y'all have another good team. And if we're gonna, in this losing streak to Michigan State, it's gonna take a heck of an effort. And without further ado, let's kind of see. And then from a preseason standpoint, we'll probably do this again before Michigan State, but from a preseason standpoint, let's just kind of see where we're at. Like from a quarterback standpoint, like where are you at on that?
Yeah, I'm taking MSU quarterback because I think Michigan's in an interesting scenario where you want to have Cade in there, and again, no disrespect to him, but Thorne was a bit more explosive last year, and I'm thinking they're going to start Cade, and I just think there's more guaranteed production out of either way. I mean, it's same thing with JJ's a high risk, high reward. You really don't know what you're going to get out of Michigan at the quarterback spot this coming season, and MSU has Peyton Thorne, who was really solid all season long and should improve. I mean, he could regress without Kenneth Walker, but I think MSU's receivers are so good, and the offensive line could only get better. So, taking MSU.
Okay, and I think Michigan has more talent in their quarterback room than Michigan State. I believe just like from a depth standpoint with Cade, JJ, you've got Davis Warren, Alan Bowman. Alan Bowman might be fourth string, and he threw for 19 touchdowns. I think he started in the Big 12. He could be fourth string. So I think from a depth standpoint, Michigan has more depth. But at the same time, because Michigan State knows who their guy is, and their guy played really well, led them to 11 wins last year, and really, really put on an aerial show and the Peach Bowl to kind of give, Michigan State fans kind of an appetizer to what's to come. I'm going to side with Michigan State right now, just because of their certainty of the position that it's locked up. They know who their guy is, and they can get behind him. So that's where I'm going with that. So, well, how about running back, dude?
I'm taking MSU too because I think this is a really tight one, and I think both teams are going to be really well off at running back. And I think Michigan, if you had to ask me I think Michigan is going to have more guaranteed production of running back just because the offensive line is going to be great. But this isn't about the offensive line. This is about the running back room. And I think MSU has the more talented running backs, especially with Donovan Edwards gone. You're going to have, MSU's got a couple transfers. I think that's going to be Tucker's thing. He's going to always have a really elite running back room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I think you might have been Hassan Haskins because Donovan Edwards gone.
My bad.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I think y'all have Jalen Berger's coming back, the young man from Colorado. You got some talent backs, but Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards played really good football for Michigan last year. Donovan Edwards could be a first-team All-American this year. And I don't want to say Heisman because Heisman's just, you get all. You can go too far with that, but I'm going to say Michigan,
Yeah.
just because with Corum and Edwards, and then also you have AJ Henning who can carry the ball as well, and he's dynamic. You can put him in. You can kind of make him put. You can play AJ Henning as kind of like a Percy Harvin role. Y'all remember Percy Harvin at Florida, so you can have that. So I'm going to go with Michigan with that, just because of the two-headed monster in Corum, and Donovan Edwards is going to step up. So yep, wide receiver.
Yeah, this is another. This one really, it's the same situation. It's both teams are well off here, but it definitely, I just think Jaden Reed is one of the best wide receivers in the country. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver in the country. And MSU has a lot of really good young receivers, and I think any guy like Keon Coleman could step up and be an elite red zone threat. And yeah, I also am an MSU fan, so I kind of have to take MSU if it's a toss-up. So, but yeah. I just think there's a really high ceiling for MSU's receivers, and Jaden Reed, everyone knows, is elite already.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And Jalen Naylor is actually playing really well in Vikings camp, so I'm glad I got to deal with him no more. So but. Of course, you have Keon Coleman. You got Jaden Reed. I think Jaden Reed is such a talented player. I was hoping he would go to the NFL too. Got to deal with him one more year, one more time. So yeah, we'll deal with him one more year, one more time. And then you got, and of course, you also have Trey Mosley as well. You've got some really good receivers at Michigan State. At the same time, Michigan's depth at receiver. Getting Ronnie Bell back. You've got Cornelius Johnson, who's played a lot of football. Roman Wilson is turning into a legitimate deep threat as of last year. You've got Darius Clements and Amarian Walker, freshmen, who are going to play a lot, along with Tyler Morris. I mean, you can go 8-9 deep with Michigan's receivers and not see a fall off. So, of course, it's a toss-up, and so it's like I'm going to go with Michigan just because of that. So, yeah. Tight end.
Tight end, I am going to give to Michigan. I don't know. It's not really – I mean, not to say that neither team has anything to look forward to, but this is definitely, I think, both teams' weakest offensive spot, I guess you could say. I wouldn't call it weak, but, MSU's hasn't had a good tight end in a while. They got Daniel Barker from Illinois that's coming in. I think he'll give some experience. There's a lot of young guys – what's his name from the basketball team? He could be really good, but I really like Eric All on Michigan, and I just think there's more proven talent in the tight end room at Michigan.
Yeah, and that's for me. From what I heard out of camp, Luke Schoonmaker is actually outplaying Eric All, which is saying a lot because Eric All is really good, which means Luke Schoonmaker stepped his game up, and so really Michigan has 1A and 1B. There, and I think both of them are going to, in the upcoming NFL draft, I think both of them are going to be drafted, and both of them can block well. Both of them have really solid or good route runners. Yeah, I think it's actually Michigan's strong suit. So I'm actually going to go with Michigan as well. With that. So yep. Now let's go down to the big uglies. The offensive line.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. To me, this isn't even really worth debating at all. Michigan's obviously got the better offensive line. MSU, I didn't feel good about MSU's offensive line at all last year. It got better, but even when you watch Kenneth Walker's best plays, he's dodging guys from the second he grabs the ball. MSU could have a solid offensive line this year, but it's undeniably Michigan's got the better offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. Michigan won the Joe Moore Award last year as the best offensive line. You lose 2 starters. You lose Stuber, and you lose a center as well. And but the thing about it is you gain Olu, who was a Remington finalist last year from Virginia, for as a grad year. And then you also, which for starters was is the center, that Olu's replacing. And then you've got Trente Jones, who's really has played a lot of football at Michigan as a reserve, as a right tackle, a monster. And then you've got Trevor Keegan, probably the best guard in the country. Ryan Hayes has been playing left tackle on and off for 4 years. It's such a luxury, and that's why I was saying, Cade would flourish. This is the system where he can flourish so well because he has such a strong supporting cast, including the offensive line. Well, let's go across the way to the defense.
Yeah, I'm giving MSU the defensive line just because, for starters, well, MSU is only going to improve on the defensive line. They're returning Slade, who's a preseason first-team All-American for a lot of people, and Simeon Barrow for MSU, I think, is going to be like an underrated piece that's coming back because he put up really solid numbers, and he only played 9 games last season. So I think he's going to be a sneaky guy. And even Bogle on the edge is one of the better transfers in college football, I think. And yeah, Michigan loses with Ojabo and Hutchinson. They lose, I think, like 25 sacks out of the 34 they got last year. And MSU actually had led the Big Ten in sacks. So something you got to give MSU the edge here, I think.
Yeah. And Michigan's replacing Ojabo, Hutchinson. Also, you forgot Chris Hinton, who's also a defensive tackle who played really well. Michigan has Mozzie Smith, who's going to be a monster coming back. Chris Jenkins is stepping up. I think Taylor Upshaw is there as well. Jalen Harrell. You've got a lot of really Mike Morris. You have some solid players who are looking to step up and fill those roles, and I think Michigan's still going to have a very strong defensive line this year. At the same time, because of returning a guy like Jacob Slade and how solid you all have been over the last couple of years, even in your rough 2020, really, you all have had a solid defensive line for a while, even going back to Coach D's years. Yeah. And so I'm going to stick with MSU by a whisker just because of what they have coming back. I'm going to go with MSU.
Yep.
And then linebacker.
Yeah, I give this to. I mean, this one's actually more of a toss-up than you think because I think MSU's got some really solid linebackers, but there's a lot of moving parts in the linebacker position for MSU, and I think Michigan's just got more proven guys, and there's not going to be a lot of guys playing at the linebacker spot for Michigan that aren't juniors or seniors or graduate players, and I think that's a spot where experience is the biggest thing. Experiences other than quarterback probably most important to have as a linebacker, and I think that's what gives Michigan the edge.
I think so too. I think Junior Colson is a very athletic linebacker. I forgot to give you credit. Jack, Michigan. Yep. I'm also with Michigan there as well. Reason being is because Junior Colson is back. Nikyle Hillgreen is also back. Michael Barrett. You've got some really solid players that are playing that position and played a lot of football for Michigan. So I'm going to get, and also, so of course you all have Aaron Brule, I think is going to be a star right off the bat. But I just think the depth and the experience of Michigan wins out here. Secondary.
Yeah, this one's obviously going to Michigan. I just hope MSU's secondary finishes like top 80, and I think it will. I mean, again, there are a lot of older guys in MSU secondary, but I didn't. Not that Mel Tucker didn't do anything, but I still think that's going to be a weak spot, and that's going to be shown when MSU plays Ohio State. I think that's going to be an issue again. I don't think that's totally fixed yet. I think it's better than last year, but yeah, I don't think either team's going to be having too much to brag about here, but definitely I'm giving Michigan the edge.
Same here. We lose Dax Hill. We lose Vincent Gray, both to the NFL. I think DJ Turner has a chance to be one of the best cover corners in the country. He was a lockdown for us last year. Jamon Green's back. You also have from RJ Moten, Ron Moore. And then also here's a true freshman that I think you should keep an eye on. His name is Will Johnson, 5-star recruit out of Grosse Pointe, Michigan. And I think from what he could be a starter at the cornerback position, a nickelback. But he wears number 2. I think you're going to see number 2 on the field a lot for Michigan this year. So be looking out for him. But yeah, I give Michigan the edge. Even though they lose a very key player, and they lose a very key player in Dax Hill, and they lose a key player and Vincent Gray, I still think they're gonna be able to carry the day. So specialists,
Yeah, I'm probably, when it comes to MSU fans, the biggest Jake Moody fan that there is, but I'm still going to give it to MSU because I just think Jaden Reed is so special as a returner, and Bryce Behringer's an elite punter, and I don't know. I think they're both two of the best in the country at their position, so got to give MSU the edge.
Yeah. Two words: Lou Groza. Jake Moody's the Lou Groza Award winner. Brad Robbins has kicked a lot of balls from a punting standpoint for Michigan. You've got guys like Roman Wilson, AJ Henning, Ronnie Bell's back. I'm not sure they'll put him on punt return again after what happened in the opener against Western last year. But I'm going to go with Michigan just because of the overall ability to, just really kicking and returning. I think they're up there with that. So, last but not least, I can't wait to hear your opinion here. Coaching.
I hate this. I hate this question a lot because I'm not gonna. If you gave an unbiased fan the option between these two coaches, I mean, Tucker right now is kind of like Harbaugh in year two. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to compare them, but I am taking Mel Tucker because he is doing everything right. He's got the program trending in a really good direction. And Harbaugh made some poor choices this offseason with a few things. And I just think Tucker's trending better than Harbaugh, I suppose. And he won last year. So
hey, fair enough. If this was October the 31st, 2021, I would say Mel Tucker. But because of the way Harbaugh, it was able to lead the team and finish the season the way they did, I got to go with Michigan. Just because of the way Harbaugh finished. Of course, Michigan loses their coordinators and all that. But honestly, losing coordinators a lot of times is a sign of a healthy program because they're moving on. Josh Gaddis took a lateral move down at the University of Miami. But Mike McDonald, the Mets are going from college to the NFL. That's a promotion. So, but you replace him with Jesse Minter, who Harbaugh was in between when he was hiring Mike McDonald. So really the scheme won't change. So, and you've got guys so you're not really going to a full scheme and all that. And then you've got Sharon Moore and Matt Weiss who played a large role in the offense last year. So not a lot's going to change there. So it's I think Jim Harbaugh's got a nice little rhythm going and has a chance to repeat. And, from there, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to be fun to see how things.
Wouldn't a repeat give him another loss against MSU?
You're going to record this, screenshot it. If y'all beat us 102-0 and we win the Big Ten and go to the playoff again and beat Ohio State, I'll take it. All right. But here's the thing. I don't want to lose y'all again. I'm tired of it. I want to be able to troll you all with you all having no rebuttal at all. That's what I want to do. And I can't wait hopefully we take care of business on October 29th so I can do that. So, yep. But here's the thing. We got 2 months. We had 2 months and 2 months and about 2 weeks. So really 10 weeks till we kick things off. So we're going to pace ourselves and not get all into the trash talk stuff. So, which is basically the opposite of that. So, yeah, man. Well, Jack, this is your first show with us, man. Anything else you want our wonderful viewers to know about you?
I'm all good. I got nothing to share.
All right. We'll think of something because we got a whole season, but yeah, this is our first show. We wanted to kick it off and give you all something else to talk about, and we certainly appreciate you all for viewing us here at the Podcast Divided. Once again, this is our house. but you all are welcome here anytime. We will be back on next week to kind of give a more really season preview, kind of break things down some more, and we're also going to give our predictions on each other's records, and we'll screenshot it and we'll revisit it at the end, and then the week after that is the opener. So y'all get ready. And once again, you all tuning into a podcast divided. We appreciate you all, and we will see you all on next week. Take care, guys.